whet your palate, where we're just going to give you a little sneak peek on what to expect on this episode.
Why are you talking so professionally? We talk about wine, entrepreneurship, and whatever the fuck else. And today, we talked a bit about some haters on social media. It's always fun. We really did dig into a little bit deeper into my titles, the Wine Titan and the Agribusiness Mogul, which are both bullshit. This is a family-owned, family-operated small company, and I like to talk about it. We talk about marketing. We talk about partnerships.
We're in sports right now with wine. It's all going great. Wine is going to surpass beer in what, 5 years? 10 years?
I sure fucking hope so.
Okay, awesome.
But
Stay tuned.
there's plenty of stuff. Lots of stuff. You'll enjoy it.
intel.
Cheers. Okay, so where we left off last time was we were talking about
Titan Joe.
Yeah, fucking names, dude. Really? These articles, they gotta stop like just throwing names around because I get shit from my friends and family all the time. So
wait, hold on a sec. Should I have it backwards or forwards?
dude, you look horrible either way. Nobody cares, okay? Fucking Ryu and Blanco over here. Yeah.
If you can see me now, I am wearing a hat of Ryu from Street Fighter 2.
His favorite fighter.
And Joe is wearing a hat, Blanca, from Street Fighter 2.
From Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Weren't they both in Street Fighter 1 too, though?
Ryu was in Street Fighter 1, I believe.
I think Blanco was
Or was it
also.
Ken?
Ken? Yeah, I know. Okay.
You know
wanna
what?
get
Take
into
this
this?
tangent? I just want to know. Was Street Fighter 1, Ryu was in Street Fighter 1 as well as Ken. They were the only ones. I believe that. I'm
That
gonna
was
test
the only
my knowledge
two?
right now.
Okay,
What?
we're testing your
And
knowledge.
Street Fighter. It was just called Street
I'm
Fighter.
going to go out on a limb.
It was in
and
the arcades.
I'm going to
It
go out
was
on a limb
probably-
and say that both Ken and Ryu were there, but I think Blanco was also there.
Blanca was not. Dude, you're going to take that leap? How much you want to bet right now, actually?
I
Right now?
don't want to put money on this.
Why don't you want to bet on that?
No, we're talking about the game, the OG fucking Street Fighter game. That's what I think.
Blanca wasn't in it.
I could be wrong. I'm okay being wrong on this.
Could be wrong.
I'm not going to
You
put
are
money
wrong.
down on this. I'm not going to put money down
Blanca.
on this. No.
Okay. All those other.
Okay, so while Art's looking that up, we're going to talk about name calling. Because when people
They
are
were calling you names, dude.
Dude, it is. It's not. I mean, it doesn't bug me. It's okay, right? I mean, I've been called worse.
You being a Titan.
This article that came out that was talking about. It was actually a cool article.
Can we just say that first? It was a cool article. Men's Journal.
It was so Men's Journal, but they call me a wine titan.
Mm-hmm.
There it is, right there. So, and there was an article not all that long ago that I was referred to. Dude, my fucking friends had a field day with this one. An agribusiness mogul.
Like
agriculture.
Yeah, agriculture. I get it, but it's kind
agribusiness mogul. And I'm like, I am nowhere near an agribusiness mogul. I thought it was funny. I mean, yeah, it's an endearing term. That's sweet. Nice of you to think of me that way.
Real quick, do you get to read these articles before they come out? Do you have like approval?
I prefer to, and not. It doesn't.
You don't
happen
always
all the
have
time,
that
no.
choice, though, right?
No, the agribusiness mogul one I didn't get to read.
I guess because
So,
it came out and you were like,
it
what
came
the
out, and
fuck?
I'm like, dude, I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I see what you're going for. Headlines. And that's the problem with these writers, some of the writers nowadays. This writer was actually really good. I get it. You need a headline. You want something that's like going to be really salty. That's like, you know, people will be like, oh, yeah, I want to read this.
Yeah.
And so, like what I loved about this article, though, was like, it does showcase what we're doing with these major sports teams, which,
yes.
dude, I'm really, like, you know, in marketing, we got to talk about marketing in general on this stuff because, like, we did go out on a limb with this, and I got to give it to Doug, who works in our marketing department, and he's awesome, and he had this idea.
Awesome.
And fucking, we tested it in a couple markets, and we figured out the platform, the way that it worked with these major, like the professional sports franchises, and bringing luxury wine into those venues. And what was exciting about it, like the first year, 2 years, and now I think we're going in 3 years, and expanding from like one team to two teams to now 5 MLB teams, one NHL team, and one NBA team. And what you see is like you have this whole tasting experience, right? You got a tasting room.
Mm-hmm.
People can buy a whole carafe, bring it back to their chairs and seats, whatever, and like enjoy it. It's all in all the venues too, because people don't just want their shitty fucking wines that are out there, like your bottom shelf $2 Magnum box wine, whatever. People want the experience that, I mean, it's not cheap to go to these games anymore.
Hell
You're
no.
going there and you expect, dude, Michael Mina's got a fucking like restaurant inside of the Niners stadium.
Wow.
That's a Michelin star chef. Like that's the level we're at these venues.
And what I want to know, what's the upcharge on that? So you have, Michelin star, and then you're thinking, oh, but then I'm at a stadium, so I got to add
Yeah.
that extra. You know what I mean? You thought like
But the
$15 beers were.
Yeah, so $15 beers now, think of like $30 beers, right? And people are willing
Yeah.
to pay that because they want that level of quality for whatever it is they're going to see. It could be a concert that's there. It could be
Oh my gosh! I was just gonna
could be Carrie Underwood that's performing at one of these venues, and you're going to have a 40-year-old woman who's like, I don't want fucking Woodbridge. I don't want Woodbridge Chardonnay. Give me that Belglas Pinot Noir. I'll pay double. I'll pay triple.
At least I'm
to
drinking.
have
Yeah.
that level of quality for the level of quality I'm expecting from this performance at this venue. Like
Yeah.
that's what people are looking for. And so what's cool about that is I feel like we broke the mold.
You
We
did.
actually got in there and we were able to show the benefits to the venue and also the concessionaires, right? So the concessionaires, the people that are like managing the food and drinks and everything at the venue, when they see something like that, even if it's like a tenths of a % of an increase on average, that's big. And it's not just big from a dollar standpoint for them, it's big from a like perception of luxury standpoint, where it's like we're offering this, people are loving it, they don't mind paying the price as long as they're getting the level of quality that they expect.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like, at first I was like, we'll give it a shot, we'll do it. And it's not just like a marketing proposition, this is also a sales proposition. So it's actually worked out really well overall. Like, yes, we do pay for the sponsorship, but we're selling more wine through that venue than what that cost is. So everything beyond that is gravy, right? If you want to call it that. So we're making money off of it. So it's driving exposure, it's driving trial, and it's also driving dollars. So it actually has worked out to be a really good, like, it's symbiotic between multiple people that are involved. And so we've expanded, and this is what I think is really cool about, like, well, the way that I see it, at least, and other people might see it differently, but like, you could be, Anheuser-Busch and walk in there and be like, we are going to pay whatever it costs to be the only alcohol in your venue. And they'll sell that shit.
Yeah.
But what that is going to do is going to limit the kind of the perception of luxury to the customer coming into that venue. So I think that these places are getting smarter and realizing we're not just selling the rights and making money off of that. We also need to consider the people that are coming through the doors and make sure that they're getting what they expect out of this experience.
Yes.
And if we're saying that, yeah, we're only offering Anheuser-Busch products, then that's a detriment to the customer. They're not going to see that as a benefit. So it's like, all right, well, how do we pick this apart and actually kind of revamp it? And so it's been great to see that, like, they're open to that and seeing the benefit they bring to the customer. At the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do, right? You want the customer to have a good time. You want them to come back. You want them to tell those stories. Like, man, we were watching our favorite team and we were having one of our favorite wines, and that's cool. But there's a timeline to all this stuff, right? So what's going to happen next? Maybe I shouldn't be talking about this, but everything goes in cycles, right?
Talk about it.
So I know that we're putting effort and money towards these venues, knowing that we're going to be making some money, but also driving exposure to the brands. So what is going to happen is that those prices to be a partner are going to be jacked up. And there's going to be somebody else in line who's going to be like, well, hell, Copper Cane's having success with this. Instead of paying that, I'll pay you double for my wines to go in there. And then they're going to be like, well, okay, cool. You'll pay us double. Then they're going to come to us and be like, hey, we're going to be upping the price for this partnership. And at some point, we're going to be like, that's just not worth it. And then that effort and those dollars go to something else. And so you always have to be looking like, what is the next thing, right? And
so you're already kind of expecting that this is going to come. And that's acceptance of the business.
If we get a 5-year ride on this thing, like that's cool, that's great.
But can we just say that you were at the forefront and you got to get the credit once this blows up, because we have an industry right now that especially with sports venues where beer has been dominating.
Yeah.
About 80% of alcohol sales, right?
Yeah.
And so, but wine is increasing through the recent years.
Yeah.
So it's going to be big that we're, like you're saying. And what was big, there was a word which I thought was a theme of this article, which I really liked, was disrupt.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess you could call it disruption. I like it's just changing the way that it's been forever, right?
Yeah.
And so are we disrupting, or are we finally making an offering that the demand was there, but there was no supply?
But there was still like a radical change needed for the innovation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I mean I thought that was what was great about it.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing.
So yeah, that's what we're doing, I guess. But like, I mean, overall, so like, and so it does have a change for us, and it does drive growth for us. It drives exposure for our wines. It drives exposure for fine wines in general, and that's at the end of the day what we're trying to do with Copper Cane.
You're answering a call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so it's great to be whatever for a disruptor. I always just think of like that word as like we're kind of fucking shit up.
That's why I like it. I always like to say bring in ruckus.
But like. But
Which is not as
concise. But it's like I don't feel that's the way we're going about it. That's the funny thing.
Yeah,
but like,
okay,
we can be viewed as the disruptor.
It sounds kind of badass, though, doesn't it?
It does sound kind of, but like it sounds like you're a maverick. You're out there, you're trying new shit, you're doing stuff that nobody's doing. You're slinging things around, just taking a different approach.
Titans.
The Clash of the Titans, yeah. So I do know that there's going to be a sunset on stuff like this, right?
Okay.
Because somebody's going to come in and be willing to pay a higher price than I think the value is there for.
Yeah.
Now, there might be some of these groups, some of these venues, some of these concessionaires that are going to be like, we've been working with you guys, we like what you're doing, and we're not going to just go all fucking nails on this. It's not all about dollars. It's about the experience for the customer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we like that you guys were the ones that brought us in. That might get us a little extra time. At some point, there might be somebody else that comes in and says, nope. Stop. We can make more money on this, and we're going to go with somebody who's going to pay more. And that's cool. I get that. Secrets are only secrets in this industry for a couple of years because there's going to be a vendor, there's going to be somebody there that's going to be selling, right? They're trying to make more. And that's always it. It's like you can sign all the non-disclosure agreements you want to. It doesn't, like, if it's a new way of like sourcing wood. We've done like all this shit. This goes back to fucking cryo extraction, whatever. A new way of sourcing wood, or a new way of selecting what wood you want for your barrels, a new way of toasting that wood, a new way of treating that wood to sap tannins out of it, whatever it is. You can sign all the non-disclosure agreements you want. At some point, you know that there's a dude who's saying, fuck, I'm making a commission off of this. If I bring this out and I'm like, hey, by the way, down the road, these guys are doing this with this product I sell. That winery is going to be like, well, yeah, why don't you just, sell us some of it? We'll try it out. We'll put 5% of our production into that, see how it works. They do their due diligence. They find out that it works, and then all of a sudden, you've got massive amounts of what was once an experiment that turned into part of our process that was standardized is now being standardized for everybody else.
And you mentioned really back, you said cryo. So
So
like,
Cryo
that was an
was like,
example of it.
Cryo
Your
was the
cryo
first time that I saw
extraction.
that, where we were fucking with like dry ice,
Yes.
right? And then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, we're bringing in dry ice, more every year.
Almost like dry ice.
And then all of a sudden I'm seeing fucking trucks
trucks of dry
of
ice.
blue bins of dry ice everywhere in the valley. I'm like, fuck you, dude. You went and sold this fucking shit to like everybody, and some people still do it. And I get it. It's a benefit, but like, you can't just sit there and like expect things to not filter out through the community, right? Like that's gonna, and it's good, right? That's progress. And at the end of the day, more people throughout the world are getting better wines at a better price. So competition is always going to be there, and you've always got to evolve. And if you don't evolve, you dissolve. That's always been like a mantra, right? So it's like, and it's not just on the winemaking side, not just on the grape growing side. That's also in the marketing side. And so this is no different. Like, we're a wine titan who is supporting these, professional sports teams, and it's bringing great things to these venues, to the customers. Now, cool, let's keep on doing it. What's next, though? So same thing with partners that we're doing like at a retail level, right? So as an example, really proud of what we've partnered with out there, right? Like, we've done No Kid Hungry. We've done the National Forest Foundation. We've donated, and these are all like causes that are important to me for one reason or another, right? Like, we went through the wildfires. So like, all right, what do we do to help repopulate our forests? And we can't be like, we can't just pull our crew out and be like, we're going out and repopulating. Yeah, we're like, we've revegetated a number of our properties that have burned, but like, what can we do from just kind of a more scalable action? And so you put that out there, and then you get a retail partner who's behind it, and you run that for a while. And then once you feel like that's kind of ran its course, people aren't that excited about it, and you know, it's also something like we felt like we did our duty. We got our shit done, and what's next? You know, so like now one of my kids is going into the military, and we've got the USO. So USO is a huge organization for like supporting vets, and a lot of people don't know what the USO is, though, right? I mean, your dad's a vet, right?
Yep.
So this kind of, we started this, you know, started talking to them and worked out something with them, and all of a sudden we've got, you know, one of the largest grocery chains in the country who is a big supporter of the USO as well. And they're like, how do we do like a partnership to draw awareness to the USO, utilizing what you guys are doing with them and supporting them, and giving back based on how much wine you sell, and what we're doing as a grocery store and giving back. So how do we like bring this all together? And then you finally bring it all together, and you never know what's out there, right? And a lot of it has to do with, you know, human interaction. So like that's Kroger. That's actually just kicking off right now. So Ellawan is the main focus, partnering with the USO and partnering with Kroger, and seeing how that's going to go. That just kicked off. Like, I think the next couple months, this is going to run through, you know, started before Memorial Day. It'll run through summer, so you're going to hit Independence Day, all that stuff, and it's kind of like, hoorah, you know, here we go, USA, let's do it, you know, support the military. Something meaningful to me, meaningful to, you know, the majority of Americans, I think, out there. I'm sure that there are some people who are like, I don't want my tax dollars going to the military. It's like, okay, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. You don't want police either. You know, you just want social programs that are going to waste money and be extremely ineffective, and we're going to be without any backbone in this country. So I have a very different perspective on what to support and why to support it, right? But I do think that I'm in line with the majority of humans out there. So doing what's right.
Hope so.
And so that, I think, is going to be that's going to be a really cool benefit. But I also see that at some point that's not going to be there forever. We might redirect that effort into something different in 3 to 5 years. So you got to constantly just be evolving and changing and adjusting and seeing what's out there. And really, if you can make it meaningful to yourself, like, I'll say back to the USO thing. So, sorry, I'm like popping all over here. But so back to the USO thing. So we had this little like idea that just came from a phone call with one of the leaders in the retail chain business, in my opinion. And so his name is, I won't throw his last name out there, but works for Safeway Albertsons, right? So he's actually at like the higher tier stores in Southern California, but he's kind of one of those beacons that is watching, always like seeing what people are drinking where, what's trending, what are these micro trends. But he is a goddamn cork dork, so he knows a ton about wine. We have great conversations whenever we meet up and talk. And so a couple months back, he's like, hey, I'm seeing in our stores, like, there's a big interest in Albariño down in Southern California. I was like, no shit. Like, we've been doing Albariño for a couple of years. We're only doing it at the tasting room, though. But I love that variety, and I just don't know, like, where it's going to go. Maybe, like we were talking about Sauv Blanc, right? Light, bright white. Cool. Like, and you know, I was like, who is it that is drinking the Albariño? He's like, you know, it really seems like it's mostly like the Hispanic, like the young Hispanic customer that's coming in, and like nobody can put a finger on it, but you're like, okay, well, Albariño, it is kind of like, it's got, you know, Spanish ancestry. It's not what your mom drank. It's not what your dad drank. Like, it's somewhat of an individual thing too. So I think that you're seeing this younger generation come in and being like, this is the profile I like. This is what I like to drink. This has some like tie to my heritage. And so I was like, well, okay, do you want to try all this? And so we did. We haven't released it yet. We're going to. But then I happened to be down in Arizona, and I was meeting with the buyer for Safeway there. And so we're talking, and it was not a meeting we were expecting to have. She doesn't really talk to suppliers. She kind of opened the door because, had heard about me and was like, okay, yeah, you can come in and we'll have this meeting, whatever else. And so I sit down with her, and I said, Phil over in SoCal, like we're trialing this thing, and didn't know if maybe you wanted to try it too, and it's Albariño, and I'd like to try it along the southern border, and we're thinking like maybe it's this kind of like heritage piece that is bringing the Latin culture into wine a little bit more, and they're migrating there naturally, and there's the heritage piece that's coming in, and the southern border might be a place where we can see if this is actually going to work, and maybe it moves out through the U.S. And she's like, I like that idea, but like she wasn't like sold on it, and so we're talking through kind of what some of our initiatives are, what we're doing, and some of the marketing stuff, and we start talking about the USO. And she's like, oh, my daughter just got out of the Army. I was like, oh, my daughter's like just going into the Marines. So we start talking about that, why we're supporting the USO and everything, and like by the end of that meeting, she's like, I want the Albariño in my stores right away as soon as you get it in the market. I want the Threadcount Sauv Blanc. I want to get behind what you guys are doing. And it's just like you never know where those opportunities are. I walked in there thinking we were going to walk out with nothing. Mm-hmm. I walked in there and we had a great conversation and walked out with amazing placements. And we're not like just broadcasting, and it's like just your top stores. Let's see how it does, and so we'll see where it goes. But you never know what's gonna work. But you got to have that human connection, because if it's all about dollars and cents, people are gonna be like, "Whoa, that's cool. I can make a buck off that." You're fucking doing penny stocks.
Yeah.
Like, good for you, but you're fucking somebody over.
And I like that what you're saying with a cause that has a genuine connection from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and obviously I was stoked once I heard. I was really excited that we were partnering with the USO.
Yeah, with the USO.
Yeah. And I know, and I told my dad about it too, and he was really stoked. We actually got him. I think we had a little bit of a swag. They gave us some. We had a couple beanies, and I got one of those and gave it to my dad. It's this red, white, and blue beanie with like the little. What do you call it with the ball? On
with the ball on it?
Yeah, dude, I gotta show it to you. I'll have him take a picture with
That's
it
awesome.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he likes to put that on and. Drink his quilt wine, and like he just feels like really connected. But it means a lot. That's what I'm saying. But this is someone. The point of that story to me is we're talking to someone that did 2 tours in Vietnam.
Yeah,
and he thinks, "Wow, that is so awesome."
Yeah,
that partnership that means a lot.
Yeah, it makes a difference. Yeah,
and that's someone that went through it. Something I can't even imagine. You know, but it's cool.
all we can do is try to support it and say thank you.
Oh, there it is. Art just brought it up. If you can see it right now, the beanie I was just referring to on screen. Yeah, see, got the stars, everything like that.
No, it's awesome.
It's cool.
It does make a difference. But like, I think that when you can convey that it is meaningful to you personally or the company that you work for or whatever it is, then it makes a difference. Otherwise, it's just fucking marketing. Like, you're like, we're going to throw dollars at this because we think people are going to like it. It's like, no, I want to put dollars towards this and helping veterans out, and that means something to me. And does that mean something to the Safeway buyer down in Arizona? Like, I had no idea.
Yeah,
she was like fucking all in. I'm like, cool, this is awesome. Like, serendipitous, I don't know, but maybe maybe we would have been like, yeah, we love old cars. You never know what connection you're gonna have.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not jumping on the wave like we've seen corporate do, or they'll get shit for that. You're just doing this for the money.
Yeah.
And not for the cause.
Yeah.
Or just to sell more. And I love how you've never done that. Everything you just mentioned with from anything from what we did with Elawan with the trees.
Yeah.
And No Kid, No Hungry.
Yeah. No Kid Hungry. Susan G. Komen. And actually what I'm thinking about for cancer research, which we do with the rosé, which I think we did that. I started doing that like 2004, 2005 or something. But, so we found some smaller groups that are actually, cause Susan G. Komen is a powerhouse, right? And they're like the most noteworthy name for breast cancer research.
Yeah.
But there are some people like locally, like UCSF and whatever else that are like, they're big groups, but like they're really in the shit of doing the research, and your dollars are actually going to that research rather than really funding the overall organization of it, right? So now looking at like what is the most meaningful way to allocate our donations. So all good stuff, but I mean it's you never know what's going to work.
Yeah.
and how long it's going to work for.
For sure. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I've been looking past you in the background. I don't know if Art and Chad know that I've been seeing them, but I've just been seeing this Threadcount bottle go back and forth. I think they're, they're killing that soft block. Dude, were you just telling me some data recently on the Nielsen report? I mean, that's just great about the Threadcount.
Okay, so
Sorry, I want to hype it up a little bit because it's
okay. So Threadcount has been an awesome. It's got an awesome reception. Like right off the bat, it's been like 15 months since our initial release of the Red Blend.
Yeah,
and it was. I mean, again, I talked about it in the last episode, kind of like how we blended that. Right, it was a very different way for us to do it. So love the way that wine style turned out. Every time you open it, it's like you can sit there and think about it, or you can just enjoy it. Like that wine that's what it's about, right? And bringing people up to a luxury level of wine on an everyday basis. So was just looking at the data, and we should talk about data a little bit, but
we will.
So that thing has moved into within its price. I call it a price varietal segment, right? So red blends within this price spectrum of like whatever it was, $17 to $24, something like that. Whatever, however, like Nielsen or IRI, which takes scan data. So if you go to a grocery store, you go to a bigger chain retail store, they sell that data, whatever's scanning through the register. So you can actually get an idea as to what people are enjoying, and you get to see what brands are doing well, what's growing, what's shrinking, all that stuff, right? So we do use that data to see how our brands are doing, the health of the brands, and so we can categorize like, well, where's this brand at? So Threadcount, like. It went pretty fast, and like I don't like going into retail fast because I don't think it's healthy. But it went in like very small scale, and then moved quickly through that. It's like once it does well, then all the other retailers are like, oh wait, I want to be in on that too. So it climbed the ladder. It was as of like just yesterday, we were looking at the data for the last 6 months. It's in the number 6 red blend. And I think by the end of the year, it's going to be number 4.
Wow.
For a brand that's like not even got 2 years under its belt. So that tells me something like we're doing something right with that. The packaging, the story, the wine quality, all that. So I think it'll, like, if you look at the total dollars, the people above us are shrinking, and Threadcount is growing at such a rate that it will overtake the next 2 spots, maybe the next 3 spots in the next few months.
You heard
so it's cool.
Yeah. Keep drinking it.
If people like
Keep drinking it, Chad. Art,
Keep on
you guys can have another bottle there.
We're doing our part with depletions, Joe.
But just to get back to this with the sports thing, because it's really cool. As it was mentioned in the article, people could check it out in Men's Journal. But you're with the New York Mets, Boston Red Sox, Texas Rangers, San Diego Padres, Atlanta Braves. Are we looking at anything maybe UFC? Because we have touched basketball too. We with the Kings. We got the Lightning.
Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, Tampa Bay
NHL.
Lightning for hockey. But I've been wanting to see UFC, bro, because I think you've been pretty honest. Like you have respect for all the sports. I've seen you get excited at Super Bowl and all that. But I feel like the sport you really have connection with feels UFC.
UFC is the one I'll pay for. Okay, that's the difference. Yeah. That's the difference. No, dude, it's real. It's a real fucking sport.
Yeah.
And like I know people think it's pretty primal and like, gladiators, whatever else, but like, dude, you're doing the same shit on the football field. Like, I mean, these people they're so matched up now. Like, and they're so at the top of their game. You have to be a beast and so fucking focused to be at the top level in that sport.
Yeah.
Like in the top 10 of any weight.
Yeah.
Like it is, you're watching the best of the best. And some of the fighters are fun to watch. Some of them, all of the fucking, Dagestan guys fucking suck to watch. It's just like, let me get you on the ground and tighten and tighten and tighten. It's like, actually, this is mixed martial arts. It's not wrestling. If you want to get into wrestling, I know you could be a good fighter and whatever else, but they're just boring as hell to watch.
I just saw UFC 302. I don't know if you saw that, but that was such a great one. Strickland was in it.
Oh yeah.
He won his fight. Kick ass, but
hilarious.
Poirier, dude, Dustin.
I know,
dude. like, I just want to say he is such a badass. Like, I mean, we've gotten to a point now where I feel, and I've like seen these fights where you could see someone get sprawled out, get it in a bare naked choke, and you were just like, it's over.
He escaped a lot.
I mean, it's
made
mind blowing
one
with the
mistake.
athleticism. I know.
I was really hoping because the guy was starting to wobble a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, and I thought if he pounded on him a little bit more, I think the guy would have gone down.
But
yeah. No, so I saw that one too. It was a good fight. Advertising, I have no idea what that would cost. But I don't think our brands aren't big enough, dude. Honestly.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, I thought you were a Titan.
Like you gotta think like that would be if we were at one of the venues, that'd be a different thing.
Yeah.
But if you're advertising like on the mat, like I don't.
Yeah.
that's huge. But
what about women's basketball?
do people watch that?
Dude, it's been going off.
Really?
Yeah,
Sorry,
dude.
I haven't started.
Have you checked out like the drama with Caitlin Clark?
I read a little bit about it.
Okay,
You know what one of the problems with that sport is? It's a bunch of women that hate on each other. Like, dude, fucking if they just got along and like, you hear more about the drama between the girls playing than you do about the actual girls playing.
Yeah.
So it's like, is that really worth? Do I want to get back into middle school? Like, fuck no.
Well, I will say this. Obviously, I'm not.
Well, let's talk about an important sport again because that one's not important.
Look, ours is holding his head, dude. They're gonna come for you, dude. Have you seen how physical it's been getting?
So I gotta say, UFC.
Yeah.
You saw that Bud Light is now sponsoring UFC. Okay.
I did not.
So you know Dana White. Most of the guys on the UFC, you can tell they're like they lean pretty far right.
You think so?
I think so.
Like in 302, Trump was there, and I think every fighter that won went and shook his hand.
So they lean far right?
Yeah.
So like what I love though is that Dana White, who makes these calls, right? So Anheuser-Busch, who owns Bud Light, they come in and they're like, "Hey, we want to advertise with you and like just probably like be like the biggest sponsor." And they probably paid a boatload of money. And Dana White, like, you got to think from his perspective, right? He's not thinking. Not only is he thinking, I can get a fucking deal on this. Like, I can really get some ad money for this. Like, great. But also, it wasn't the company that fucked up. It wasn't the company that didn't cater or advertise to their core demographic, if you want to call it that. It was a marketing team. And the marketing team kind of screwed the pooch. Like they really probably should have seen that going. So it's like you can't say like, and I'm with him on this. You can't say fuck Bud Light, fuck Anheuser-Busch. They're a company that's pandering to whatever, and I don't agree with it. And I don't give it. Like I never really cared about it. Like whatever it was. Cool, you want Dylan Mulvaney to speak for your stuff or whatever. Like I don't care. That's like love who you want to love. But the fact that he saw kind of through that and was like, oh, yeah, it's Anheuser-Busch. They're still an American company. They're still, I mean, they're maybe, a little bit bigger, publicly traded, whatever else. But they got the roots, right? So it's like, okay, it still like feels like it's an American company.
Yeah.
Well, so he's got him advertising. It had nothing to do with the company. It just had to do with the marketing department that made a bad decision.
Oh, here, Art just brought up the what Joe was talking about here, the article. It says
$100 million, dude. Oh my God, I didn't even know that's what the deal was.
Wow, 100 million. But I mean, 100 million to them. I mean, they were still in it. They lost. What did they lose? A couple billion from that?
Dude, that's 100 million. Fuck, I don't even.
Anheuser-Busch, though,
dude. It's a whole different world. Whole different world. I don't even know. Fucking $100 million. I didn't know it was that much.
Elon Musk, you know what I mean? Like.
So, and Chris, that's a great example as to why we can never advertise with the UFC. Fucking $100 million.
Well, but you know what? You don't know. Dana White could really enjoy Bell Gloss every night. So we'll talk to him.
Well, just give us a freebie, right?
Because I feel like I will say that I feel like you and him have what you have in common is this, you know what? Hey, I'm just going to say it like how it is. I'm not here to hide.
Well, yeah.
Like, I mean, not saying that your views or
I think that's
everything
what most people should be like that. Like, I think the problem is that
okay,
most people can't
most people
handle
should
opinions.
Be, how many people are though?
That's the problem. Is that no?
Exactly.
But the problem is because everybody feels like they got to walk on eggshells.
Yeah.
Because they're worried they're going to offend somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's a society that we've created because of lawyers and people that are overly sensitive. I don't even want to get into this shit.
Well, it's okay because I think we're going to get into my segment, which I have named Hater Taters.
Hater Taters.
Yeah, we're in a transitional period. I feel where we're going to be looking maybe for these new segments, and if you want, maybe you can send you because we had horrible bosses, and we were taking a little break.
Yeah.
And we're just trying some new stuff out. But this is what I like. First of all, it's been a really hot time in social media. Things have been going really great. I know you don't like to talk about your success in social media, but
that's not my success. It's brands.
Just recently, you've had 18 million total views in the last couple of weeks. So I just thought, oh, look at your face. 18 million, dude.
That's good. That sounds like a good start.
Yeah. I know why you don't like it, because you think you're going to have to keep answering to this influencer title. It's on your cards now. Did you know that? They added it. And don't worry, it's before winemaker.
Oh yeah, good. I want to make sure everybody knows that. Okay. What is Hater Taters? Can you fill me in on this?
Dude, we get to answer the haters.
Oh.
We get to I have some comments here. And if you will
I didn't
do
even look at
me
this packet
a great big favor, and you can bring up the video under the TikTok and cues.
Go for it.
It creates an oxygen-deprived environment. If you have cork and a foil on top, little bits of oxygen still migrate through that cork and into the wine, degrading it more so over time. And I want this wine to last long and taste good every damn day. And it looks fucking sexy. So what?
Okay.
Right.
So first of all,
for those that are just listening.
Yeah, so I'm dipping a wax bottle and explaining why wax is a superior seal for the cork over a foil. That's because there's oxygen interaction. I just did another one of these tastings last week. I think I did 2010, 11, and 12, Clark and Telephone, and Los Alturas. Stuff that we had that was not waxed ever compared to the waxed stuff that we had in the cellar. So both held in the same cellar. As expected, done this before, the wax seal holds the wine to a much fresher degree. So anyways, we're gonna do a segment because there's some shit talking about this stuff, and I know that's what I'm about to get into.
Yeah.
There's some shit talking about this, so I'm gonna get some Psalms out here and taste them blind.
We're doing this
on a series of this, and
yeah.
because I don't want to be, it won't look objective if I do it on my own, right? They'll probably still poke holes in it, but newsflash: Psalms generally don't like me, so they're probably going to be honest no matter what, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an honest Psalm. Fucking oxymoron.
Trust me, this grilled red liner will go perfect with your steak with a bit of milk.
Okay.
I've never seen that.
Ferris Bueller. Right
Yeah,
there.
who
This only costs $250. You're gonna love it. Do you like my lapel pin? It shows that I'm a sommelier level 2.
So, let's see. That was my Psalm interpretation.
Yeah, okay. No, I got it. I just, yeah.
Okay, so
I hope people will just go check in to see what your mouth was moving in weird ways.
So this is from Cosmo's McChicken, which I don't know if that sounds like a fast food restaurant, but
Yeah.
this lame ass dude spits in his barrels and is constantly wasted and naturally a D-bag. I don't actually spit in the barrels. And actually, I don't really drink alcohol much now. So, douchebag, got that one right. Thanks, Cosmos. Let's see.
And I think he was referring to we've talked about this before, which is always great because you've done so much great educational pieces.
Yeah.
You did some barrel tasting. And I think it was
when I dumped it back in.
Yes. And
yeah.
so you tasted from the glass, you spit on the floor, and then you poured the glass back in.
Oh, and then we did the follow-up, and I told him that in Burgundy,
Yes.
they spit back into the
Yes.
glass and then pour back in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So he's
Cosmos,
actually not correct.
educate yourself, you idiot.
Yeah.
Okay.
He does have, but I mean, he has a huge following.
Then Rogue Collectibles stated, has nothing to do with makers, huh? And then tags at Makers Mark. yeah, wax was not invented by Maker's Mark, Mr. Rogue Collectibles. Why don't you go collect your belongings and pack your shit and get off the social media? Thank you.
If I may add, we also have another great video. If you follow Joe's social media, and he's actually been on the phone with Maker's Mark before in conversations about wax, and they're both helping each other and supporting each other as creators. So
Thank you, Chris. That is
Wow.
true. I will say that Maker's Mark does have a trade dress on their wax dip style and the color wax, as we do for Bell Gloss with
Boom.
our wax dip style and the color of our wax. So, no, it's not a knockoff. Wine was actually using wax to seal their bottles much longer than Spirits was.
boom, roasted.
Roasted. Boom. Okay. Let's see. There's Laura Turleybeck. Why wax half a bottle? Well, Layla, you are correct. We could just do the tip, but the last time I did just the tip, we know where that went. I have 6 children, so not really into just the tip. I like it deep, and that is why I dip the bottle almost halfway down. Okay,
Art.
Layla, I hope you enjoy that. Booze Gurus. Welcome to Africa. They use, I think you meant to say screw cap for a wine
I
bottle.
think yes. So read it.
Welcome to Africa. They use screw cap for wine bottle. Okay.
Okay, so you use screw cap as well.
We do too, yeah. We
Just
use
not
one
with-
of the two options. It's either a cork with wax seal or a screw cap for the same oxygen-deprived environment as I said in the video.
Thank you.
And part of this is like there is an aesthetic and a pedigree, and yes, there is an element of marketing to it. But there's also the romance for the people that are really traditionalists that we want to make sure we do have wines for. Could all wines go to screw cap tomorrow? I think so. Absolutely.
Maybe. Yeah.
But, you know,
Will we wax a screw cap?
I mean, you got to ask, like, do you really need to wear polyester clothing? Do you need to wear a rubber rain jacket? It's like, no, just walk around naked. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you could just walk around naked and you're totally waterproof.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Arturo Turi. Pensé que iba a hacer una michelada. I think you need to do a michelada. Okay. Language. Somebody wanted me to. I don't know. Are these all supposed to be digs? These don't seem that mean.
No, you weren't supposed to read them all. I was going to read them.
Oh,
I was just going to read
Jesus
the
Christ.
digs then.
Okay, well,
so
let
there's
me
like
read
one
the-
last
okay.
one, I think, and then we can.
Oh, there's that Michael 5. And it's annoying as fuck to cut through, especially in a restaurant when time is of the essence. We have a pull tab. I know you see the wax and you don't realize it. There's a pull tab on this.
Right there.
Fucking try it.
Boom.
Jared Niels, quote, little bits of oxygen. I hate when those little bits get everywhere. Damn.
Ooh, you know he's being condescending.
Ooh.
Oh,
You
little
know,
bits
I'm
of it. That's
sorry,
what he's doing.
Jared, that when I speak, I'm not speaking perfect scientific English, but little molecules, atoms, oxygen. Air gets through the fucking cork, you dumb shit. Ruins the wine. Period.
Boom. Roasted. Maybe that's what we should call it.
All right, was that it? Was
I
that
don't
all
know
the
if I
shit
like
talking?
the tater haters or haters.
No?
Taters. Maybe I like boom roasted. I don't know. We'll play with it. But there, you did a good job.
I mean, there's some real shit talking that I've seen on there, which this is kind
We're
of
gonna get to it
mediocre.
though. So this will be kind of like a.
Okay.
We're building on this. This is a new segment. Get ready for it
Okay.
because there's a lot of shit talking, and that's what happens, right? I mean, when you you've been climbing the charts of social media, and they
Sure,
come from it. You
sure.
know, hey, let the haters hate. Watch the money pile up. If you know, you know.
Tell you what Banks told me, cuz go ahead, switch your style up. Hate then let them hate, watch that money pile up.
Boom.
We can go upside your head, we'll bottle above, and we know we could be.
All right, I think guys, the crew has left. Actually, I don't see Art
they're
or
gone?
Chad in the
All right.
studio anymore.
Oh, by the way, this is Go With Your Palate. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. We got me, Joe Wagner,
Chris
and
Fat
Chris Fat Mario
Mario.
Rubio. We're talking about wine, entrepreneurship, and whatever the fuck else. Peace.